Guys, welcome back to my channel. So I have another one of my what I eat in a day AIP videos for you guys. This was what I was following when I was going through alopecia. It's the autoimmune paleo or protocol diet, and it's really good for people that are suffering from autoimmune issues. Before we get into this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up if you like it. So this first recipe was probably something I had most mornings. It's my breakfast smoothie. So you got to use like a NutriBullet or a Ninja blender, or like if you have a blender at home, you can use that as well. And you're going to get frozen strawberries, and I'd put maybe about 8 of them into the NutriBullet, and then I would throw in about a handful of blueberries as well. Then to that I would add a handful of spinach and just sort of like chop it up with your hands. And then you're going to fill the water till it covers pretty much all the berries. And I liked it, like the consistency to be really like icy, like I liked it really thick. So if you want it to be a little bit more liquidy, you could always add a little bit more water. But you can see, like, I would like eat it with a spoon, and it was so delicious. And now we're moving on to lunch, and we're doing an ahi tuna salad. We're starting off with some butter lettuce, which is my new favorite lettuce. If you guys haven't tried it, try it. And then a cucumber, some ahi tuna, and an avocado as well. So butter lettuce is just so nice and like, well, just like the name sounds, kind of buttery. So you're just going to pull apart the leaves, and then you're going to clean them up and then chop them up into nice bite-sized pieces. Next, you're going to take your cucumber and you're just going to slice it. I like to slice my cucumbers a little bit more on the thick side, just because like when I'm eating something like raw tuna or anything that's kind of got that more squishy texture, I like a lot of crunch with it. And then you're going to take your avocado and just slice that up as well. And now here's where my chef hubby comes into play. So we just minced up some garlic, and now we're taking the tuna and rolling it in the garlic, and then we're going to throw it onto a hot pan. You'll just want to add a little bit of olive oil to the pan first, and then throw in the tuna. And the whole point of this is you're not cooking it all the way, you're just searing the edges. So he just took some tongs and he pretty much only let the tuna sit there for maybe 30 seconds before he would turn it over to the next side. Yeah, and he's taking a beer break now. Okay, now we're moving on to the dressing. So we're taking 2 limes, and basically what I like to do, and what he likes to do as well, just sort of run it over the cutting board to allow the juice to get a little bit more loose, and then cut it and then just squeeze it into the NutriBullet. You're gonna add some extra virgin olive oil as well, then some apple cider vinegar. You wanna use the one with the mother, it has more nutrients in it, and then you're going to just add a splash of that, and then you're going to grab some garlic and some cilantro, and then just throw that in there as well. But the NutriBullet is so great, you don't have to like chop up anything, you just throw it in there. And then just mix that up, and I swear he's like a god when it comes to salad dressings. Like, he is the best. This was so delicious. Now you're going to grab your tuna and you're going to slice it up. How yummy does that look? Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to arrange your plate, and then you can add some green onions over top as well to add a little bit more of a crunch factor. Like I said, I'm very like sensitive when it comes to textures, so I really like a lot of crunch when it comes to having squishier things like tuna and avocado in my salad. I don't know, is anyone else like me when it comes to textures? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. And then you just arrange the tuna, and then you're going to add the dressing. And guys, this is so delicious. Honestly, you got to give it a try. Okay, now we're moving on to my new favorite snack. This is plantain chips and guacamole. We're starting off with a red onion, a lime, an avocado, garlic, and some cilantro as well. So we're going to make the guacamole first. So you're just basically taking an avocado, and you're going to run the knife around, separate it, and then take the avocado out of the shell, I guess. or the skin. And then you're going to slice it up and chop it up and then put it into the bowl. And then you're going to slice up your red onion, and I like to chop up my onion and my garlic really fine when I do guacamole. I just like it to have like smaller pieces rather than the chunkier pieces, but you guys can do whatever you want. I remember one of the first times I ever had guacamole, I was at a restaurant in Vegas, and it was on the menu and it was called Guacamole Live. So basically they brought out all the ingredients in separate dishes and made the guacamole right where you were sitting, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Just to watch the presentation, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, like they had literally all the ingredients were chopped up so fine, and it was so delicious. Slicing up the cilantro and adding it to the guacamole as well. And now we're going to squeeze in the juice of 1 lime. So like I mentioned before, just roll it on the cutting board first and it really loosens up the juices. And then just squeeze the lime into the guacamole. And now you can add some salt to it. If you guys want to use pepper, I believe you have to be out of the elimination phase of AIP. So we're just using salt in this recipe. And then what I like to do is just sort of, with the fork, squish up the avocado and just keep doing that, and then combine all the ingredients together and you get a really, really delicious tasting guacamole. Okay, now it's time to move on to the plantain chips, and if you guys haven't tried plantain chips, like I had never tried them before I met Derek, and I was really scared. The thought of like taking like something that looked like a banana and slicing it up and like frying it and eating guacamole with it just sounded so bizarre to me. Like I couldn't imagine that it would taste nearly as good as it tastes, but now I love it. It is one of my favorite snacks now. So basically you're going to cut the plantains and you're going to just like try not to make the slices too thin or too thick. You really don't want them to be too thick. And then you're going to add some coconut oil to a hot frying pan. And then the key to making plantain chips is to separate the plantains when you put them into the frying pan. You don't really want to have them kind of overlapping each other. And you're just going to fry the one side, and then you're going to flip them over one by one and fry the other side. Again, try not to overlap them. And the texture, guys, and the taste is so, so good. And then you just dip the chip into the guacamole, and it's so delicious. Okay, now we're moving on to dinner, and this is spaghetti, squash, and beef. This is honestly one of my favorite dinners. I probably should have titled this What I Eat in a Day AIP Favorites because all of these are so good. So basically you're going to cut open a spaghetti squash. It is really hard to open, so just be prepared for that. Just gonna grab a spoon and you're gonna scrape all the seeds out of the inside of the squash. And then you're gonna grab some extra virgin olive oil, just drizzle that on, and then you can massage it in with your hands. And then you're just going to flip them over and you're going to pop them into an oven heated at about 425 to 450, and then it takes about a good like 40-50 minutes to bake. And then we're moving on to the beef, and you're going to grab an onion. We just used both a white and a red because we were almost out of the red. Green onion, some garlic, and then we used rosemary, thyme, and oregano in this recipe. So you're basically just going to dice all of the ingredients up. And normally when people make spaghetti squash, they'll use like a spaghetti sauce with their beef, but because tomatoes aren't allowed on AIP, you want to definitely add the herbs just because it's going to give you a lot of flavor. And those herbs, when they're fresh, you can use those. I believe you just can't use the seeds. So you just want to take the herbs off of the leaves or the stems, and then you're just going to chop it all up. And then you're just going to slice up your green onion and just keep it to the side because we're going to add it towards the end. Now just heat up a frying pan and add some olive oil to it, and then you're going to add in the onions first. And then you're going to add the garlic afterwards and just saute it all up. And then you're going to add your ground beef. And then basically what you want to do is just make sure it's in little pieces, and then just grab your spatula and you're going to cut it all up. Because it cooks pretty fast, so you just want to get it in there and just make sure you're cutting it all up, otherwise you'll end up with big like chunks of ground beef. And then when it starts to brown up a bit, just add your salt for flavor and then your herbs as well. And then when it's almost done, you're going to add your green onions. Okay, now that the beef is done, we're going to go back to the spaghetti squash. So we're grabbing it out of the oven, and you can tell it's like totally done because you slice a knife into it and it's a little bit soft. And we're going to turn it over, and you want to grab a fork, and it's always good to sort of hold the squash down somehow and just scrape and just keep scraping. Scrape the inside of that squash. And it's going to give you what looks like spaghetti, and then you're going to throw it into a plate and then throw your ground beef on top, and it is just so yummy. It's such a delicious dinner. You don't feel deprived when you're eating food like this. That was my second What I Eat in a Day AIP video. I hope you guys enjoyed these recipes. They're honestly some of my favorite recipes that I was eating during AIP. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and I'll see you next week with another video.